I do want to return to the history of 8 years ago, because it's often said that history doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. 8 years ago, the very top priority of then President Trump and a unified Republican Congress was the so-called Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which, according to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, showed 83% of the benefit went to the richest 1%. No wonder that in the entire history of Gallup polling, the only poll to register majority voter disapproval as opposed to approval was the TCJA, and it wasn't just one poll. Poll after poll showed only about 40% of the American people supported the Trump tax cuts, while a majority, somewhere in the mid-50% range, opposed them. The wisdom of the American people was proven to be right. That added $2 trillion to our national debt. So now that it's 8 years later and they're set to expire, the question is, how much more debt would this policy add? The CBO, again, released a report in May, and they've testified before the Budget Committee, another committee on which I serve as ranking member. They showed in their report the full extension of the TCJA would add $4.6 trillion to the national debt. So for the last 4 years, I keep hearing from a number of my friends on the other side of the aisle how concerned they are about deficit, how concerned they are about debt. I do tend to notice that whenever there's about to be a Republican in the White House, we tend to hear a lot less concern about deficit and debt, and the top priority is always tax cuts for the richest 1% of Americans. Now, Mr. Duke, let me, with a great first name, let me turn to you, Brendan, and ask you, do tax cuts pay for themselves?
No.
And the $4.6 trillion figure that the nonpartisan professionals at the CBO found, which is also similar to analysis done by the Wharton School and by other nonpartisan groups as well, does that sound approximately the right number?
Yep.
And you are familiar with some of the other reports and analysis that has been done by other groups? They're all approximately in that $4.5 trillion range, correct?
Yep, that's right.
So it is fair to say that if we fully extend the TCJA, we will be adding at least $4 trillion more to the national debt.
That's right.
Now let me turn to tariffs. Tariff is another word for tax, is it not?
That's right.
So if President Trump follows through on his promise to do wholesale tariffs on imported goods, that would be, in reality, like a national sales tax on anything that we get abroad, correct?
That's right.
It's funny, it seems to me that one of the big drivers of this past election was dealing with the global increase in inflation, a problem that wreaked havoc all around the world, from the Baltics and Germany through the UK to Canada, the US, Asia. Started in 2021 once economies began to get back into full swing after the COVID pandemic, and that we had to restart supply chains. Would tariffs make goods less expensive for the American people?
Absolutely not.
In fact, tariffs would make goods more expensive for the American people.
That's right.
Thank you. With that, I yield back.